Yeah. Was it Peter Pan?
No, it was the woman, or there's a girl that's a pirate in it.
Molly.
Can't remember the name of it off.
Anyway, this is 4th, 5th, 6th graders that came. Sonali remembers because her daughter was in the class. And they came back from this play, and they came in at lunchtime, and usually they come in, they love theater. You know, kids love theater. And these were musicals, they love that. And they came in, and I remember the first boy that came in, I said, well, how was the play? He goes, you wouldn't have liked it, Usha. What's that mean? Oh, what's that mean, I wonder? And then some other kids came through and said, it was okay, it was pretty good, you know. And then a much more forthright girl came in and I said, what'd you think of the play? She said, ew, I feel like I need a shower. I said, oh, and then Sandy walked in and she went. I said, what was wrong with it, Sandy? She said, I don't remember what your words were, but it was too violent. It was dark. It didn't have any uplifted, and violence is okay if there's a message and an uplifted ending so that there's something to hope for and live for. And so I said to the kids, well, what can we do to feel better? Because I had been teaching in a class called Brain Gain, about the brain and about, you know, how to stay healthy and how to calm down and how to breathe and how to, you know, do exercises with your, what's it called? This part of your leg. You know, to stretch it out, to relax. No, not the calf. Well, it is the calf, but the back part. Anyway, hamstrings, thank you. Keep those stretched out, helps you relax, and all these things. And so, okay, well, how can we feel better? And somebody said, well, we could drink water. I said, yeah, we could. They named 2 or 3 things, and I said, well, how about let's sing a song? And they go, okay. And so I launched out into some song that we sing, and we all sang it, and it really uplifted the energy, didn't it, Sandy? That's how you teach kids what we're talking about here, is in the moment when life brings you the curriculum, you have to be pretty conscious to do that, don't you? You have to be, and so that brings us to the last, well, probably not the last, I'm probably always going to have 2 or 3 more, but core concept is the teacher is, I've got a complex now. That the most important thing in the classroom is the teacher, and the teacher's becoming centered in herself so that she knows how to respond to the curriculum that life brings. I'm thinking of one year at the Ananda Village School when it seemed like the curriculum for the whole year was death. We had a child whose father was dying of ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, that year. We had a deer that was shot that decided to come up and lie right outside the 3rd grade classroom and window and die. And Priya's nodding, she remembers that year. And the school dog died that year, who had been, some of the junior high and high school kids had that dog with them in 1st and 2nd grade and were quite attached. And so what do you do with that? Do you just go on with, okay, it's time to do Greek mythology today? Or do you say, okay, this is what life is bringing, and I trust that life is bringing us for a reason. It's here. We have to rise to meet it. We have to say, okay, what's the challenge? It was challenging for the teachers. That was challenging. Some kids had a real hard time with that, handling it. What's the challenge? How do we meet it? And it draws on our inner resources. And that is such a gift, because every teacher grows. Every good teacher grows. But if you're a good education for life teacher, it's to infinity before you're done, I think, because it's all about expansion, 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 expansion. If the goal of education for life is maturity, and maturity is defined as the ability, help me, Karen,
To respond appropriately.
to realities other than one's own, then that doesn't just mean so-and-so in the classroom and so-and-so sitting next to you in the classroom. It also means when you go to the store, you respond to the rude clerk. It means you respond to other countries. It means responding, it goes on and on to all creatures on earth, and kids love that idea. They feel so attuned to nature and loving the plants and the animals, and that's a great place for us to start. giving them experiences of expansion, as I mentioned, about the stuffies. We have a policy here of people can, we want to know about it, but people can bring their pets and their puppies and their animals, because nothing changes the energy in the classroom like that. I know when the kids in the intermediate class were having a hard time and sniping each other, and Hannah, our school dog, you can see her in the pictures over there, she passed away a year ago. When she'd come be in the class for a day, it was like you'd added honey to the pot. The whole classroom would just become sweeter. Of course, she was a calm dog. It has to be the right pet, you know. But kids, you know, learning to be calm enough to hold a parakeet on their finger. They learn a lot about their own energy level, because with some kids, the parakeet would always fly. And with other kids, they would want to stay there. Why was that? And how could we change our energy so the parakeet would want to stay there? I have another lovely photograph of Helen's son and his best friend, who Helen's family got 2 little rat terriers, and they were puppies. And Luca, her son, had already left our school and was attending the Magnet School for Arts and Communication nearby. And they came over after school, and you must have had the puppies here at school that day. And they sat out on the back lawn, and I couldn't get over it. These were 14-year-old boys in full throttle of puberty and hormones and all that you go through. And at that age, and wanting to be cool and wanting to be accepted and having to be pretty tough, right? And they sat there on the lawn for 45 minutes in the same positions, they never moved, cuddling the puppies, just cuddling them and playing with them and letting them run around and then cuddling them and cuddling. And I thought, what an opportunity for boys that age to show tenderness. And this is experiential. That's what they need. It's not about telling them to be tender toward young and vulnerable. It's giving them opportunities to do that and helping them do that. It's all about experience. And then the best part of it was school got out and the kindergartners got out, and one of Helen's most rowdy little boys was just magnetized right to those older boys, and still, and like, because who could not have their heart open? I mean, we know this is biologically designed, that when you see a face with the eyes proportion bigger to the head, we automatically think baby, and it's a biological response to protect it, right? But where does that come from? Where does that reflect a higher reality about selfless love? Or is it all just a biological imperative? I mean, there are only 2 possibilities here. Either this world is nothing but physical, and all those ideals we have about love and gratitude and joy are just figments of our biological brain. They're only chemical, and when we die, they're gone. Or this is a spiritual universe, full of divine love, full of divine light, full of inner peace, full of joy. And we are physical manifestations of energy, and we're all capable of experiencing those finer feelings. We're capable of, as teachers and parents, of creating the situations where children can experience them, and they are divine reality. It's one or the other, and the physicists are fighting over it, and the philosophers are fighting over it. It's the big, thing of our times. The big, the quantum physicists, some of them say, well, there is something else, and they call it, what do they call it, ground of being, field of being? No, what is the word of it? What do they call it? I have to look it up in my notes, but something like that. And it's that, I mean, they know now that, what is it? What is the body? What are the molecules? It's all, if the superstring theory is right, it's all vibration. What's making it vibrate there? Ground of being, field, I can't remember what it's called exactly, but it's basically there's an idea that keeps it doing that, or an energy, or what is it? Is it your soul? What is it? There's something that makes your molecules vibrate like that, and you look like that and love art, and make hers vibrate like that, and make her love nature and turtles and PE, And is that all just from her brain? Is that just coming from her genes and her childhood experience? Or is there some reality that we physically manifest that's beyond. And of course, in Education for Life, we believe there's energy behind all physical manifestations. And the more we work on that level, the more transformative and joyful our classrooms can become. The more we work on the heart level, the more we, as Rachel Kessler, who is she's actually phenomenal. She writes books and has done a lot with spiritual education for the teenage puberty level, and gotten a lot of it into public schools. And she does it. She doesn't use words like spiritual. It's like, who am I? What am I here for? And those sorts of things. And one of the things she said, I just loved at a conference recently, she said, from a child's point of view, their feeling, their thought, their unconscious reality is, if you hold my heart, then I'll allow you to engage my brain. Don't you love that? If you hold my heart, I will allow you to engage my brain. Science is catching up with this idea now. You know, now we know that there are more nerves going out from the heart than there are from the brain. That the heartbeat, when it's coherent, affects the brain, not just the other way around. We thought it all started here and affected all the body systems, but now they're showing, and they also, that the energy field, the measurable energy field of the heart is actually, in many people, stronger and larger than the energy field the brain puts out. It's it's fascinating. Are we going to wait till we can prove all these things about the heart to start educating the heart? I hope not. Even medicine is already operating on the philosophical basis that there's something to energy. I mean, Western medicine, Mayo Clinic, Harvard Medical University, they all acknowledge that acupuncture works. They won't acknowledge why it works, but you know why. It has to do with energy flowing through the body, and when you do these needle things, it affects the way the energy is flowing through the body. They know that music affects healing. What is music but energy and vibration? These things are all shown to be true, and they're working in medicine. Medicine's already open to them. Education it's just pitiful, really, because it's only happening in little pockets of educators around the world. And there are others who are trying their very best to do this as well, and who are succeeding. But with Education for Life, we have a whole system, and it's not like we don't want to codify it and confine it to a system. It's not about that. It's about constant growth and expansion, right? But this model and this system allows us to work on a level with our kids so far beyond teaching them. I mean, of course they learn to read and write and do math and all those things. Why? Because the brain's designed to learn. It's designed to learn. And when we meet all their other needs, and then we teach them the academics, they just... And we don't have to repeat things over and over and over. God, when you look at public school curriculum, look at some of the textbooks. Because I was an English major, I know more about those textbooks. And looking at the literature textbooks for kids and reading textbooks, oh my gosh, 4th grade they're introduced to the concepts of plot, character, setting. 5th grade, plot, character, setting, and point of view. 6th grade, plot, character, setting, point of view, and tone. 7th grade, it's this endless repetition. And why is there so much repetition? Because so many kids aren't able to get it the first time, because no one's attending to all their other needs. Nobody's getting them ready to learn before they learn. Nobody's addressing all the other things besides the intellect that need to be addressed before they can learn, or as they learn, I should say. It's like this. So let me see if I covered truth is universally rooted, law of motivation, everyone desires happiness, Education for Life teaches through experience, not dogma. The concept of expansion, maturity is expanding. And that's another thing you can always look for to say, okay, is the energy in my classroom going the right way today? Look at it, are kids getting a little more expansive, or did they get a little more contractive? Was it a little more about either me or just us, our class, or the 1st grade versus, or is it a little more relaxation into we can accept other realities when they come in? We work from our own center as much as we can to the child's center. And just remembering that when you don't know what to do and you're exasperated and you're thinking, I've tried everything, nothing's worked. Okay, right now maybe I can't solve this, but I need, if I'm in my own center and I speak to the child center. When you think about the child center, often it just comes to you what this misbehavior, what this difficulty they're having is coming from. And then you address what it's coming from, not just the outer manifestation of it. And behind the physical reality is an astral or energetic reality. And the more we can work on that reality, on that level, the better. So now, oh, and one more thing is because we had put this on the topics I sent you out. Did everybody get the email list of topics for each class? And one of them said, is it child-centered or is it curriculum-centered? Well, Education for Life, I mean, it's both. It's child-centered because you start with where the child is and take them to the next step. And that's all you can do. You can't take a child who is selfish and hitting baby brother because, you know, they don't want to share their toy and bring them to, oh, share your toys with everybody at your birthday party. No, that's not the next step for that child. It's always about the next step for each child. So it's child-centered, whether in, of course, in math, I mean, all schools are child-centered that way because they know, all schools now, I mean, everybody knows you don't teach kids something beyond their ability to learn it. You have to teach them the next step academically. But it's also, it's not like free school. It's not like Summerhill. It's not like Rousseau's Noble Savage. It's not that, oh, you leave a kid alone and they'll ask for everything they want to learn, they need to learn in their life. Well, are you going to throw away centuries and centuries of human wisdom, whether it's the human wisdom that comes from Gandhi, from Christ, from Buddha, I mean, there are things that universally great people agree on and live their lives by. And so we do have certain things that we want the kids to learn, and we call them, a lot of the time, here, we call them living values. That's what they're called in the book Education for Life. I think Nitai Duranja calls them skills for living a lot. And it's these qualities you're talking about, determination, right use of will, all of these. Gosh, does it seem like it's just endless and so big we could never do it? You only have to do the next step. All we have to do is the next step for each child or for the class as a whole.